Welcome, folks. Before we get started, let's make sure you guys can hear me. Somebody give me the virtual thumbs up. Make sure you guys can hear me. I believe you can, but let's make sure that before I get started, the software was giving me a little bit of trouble, so I just want to make sure that I am streaming. So if you guys can give me the virtual okay, give me the thumbs up, say yes, we hear you, you're live. It looks like I am, but I just want to make sure. And we'll get going. So what's up, everybody? I'm assuming that we're live. Okay, I got some thumbs up in the building. So let's get it started. Welcome to the Week 3 preseason Steelers versus Lions post-game reactions presented by the Steel Basement. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, SimFootballCritic, whatever you want to call it. Let's get right to it, man. So you know where we start off. We're going to always jump in and say hello to the early commenters. That's the first and foremost thing that we do. I'm letting you guys know tonight I will be done before 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time because I have to watch the Targaryens. I have to. I'm sorry. Got to watch House of the Dragon. So anyway. Let's get to it. Welcome. Let's say what's up to the early commenters. Jared Devil, Boss Una, Charlie Brown. Hello, the real Missy. Hello, Miss Lady. Thank you for coming through. We always give a special hello and thank you to our female listeners. Treat them well, guys. My man Brett Fox in the building. Hello, Miss Lanisha. How you doing tonight? Appreciate you tuning in as well. Give her a special hello, guys. Who is this? BQ412. He says you're running late, bro. Hey, man, the game didn't end at the exact time that I posted, and it is what it is. I'm sorry that I'm late, if it is called late as far as post game, but sorry about that. Who else we got? Jordan Mid, Ron Simpson Gaming, Boulevard Ware, T-Dog. Brian Williams, hello, Miss Sade in the building. What's up, Sade? I don't know if I've seen you for a while, so I'm happy to have you back. Hope you're doing good. Make sure you guys give her a proper hello as well. Lee Sharp, Wave Dave, the master of music. My man, Y Diggy, Zuami M. Zuami, I haven't seen you in a while. Appreciate you coming back and hanging out. Sun Moon 80, Nate Stevens, Ali Howard, Sugar Ray Robinson Jr., Vista Light. Who else we got up in here? I see what we do got up in here. We have a donation, an early donation. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to give a round of applause to Jameer Sanders. Appreciate the donation. He says, Money Mitch is a breath of life. Let's go. All right, we're going to talk about it. So let's jump right into it. Oh, there goes Miss Debbie. I got to say hello to Miss Debbie. Hello, Debbie. Appreciate you coming through and hanging out with us as well. Make sure you guys give her a proper hello. All of our female listeners, all of our lovely ladies in the chat, make sure you welcome them with open arms and give them the proper hello and welcome that they deserve. Let's get into it, man. Y'all know how I do. You know, I'm in my season form right now. You know, this is a test run. You know, I didn't capture every single possession. I think I'm going to do it different this year. I think what I'm going to do is really kind of just do key moments. I don't know if I'm going to, chronicleize each drive offensively anymore. Sometimes it will happen that way, but I'm more so just going to point out key moments and key takeaways from the game. All right, so of course I'm always going to do the first drive offensively, first series defensively, injuries, penalties, and then we dive right into it. Also, office visits. I have an idea about office visits, guys. We'll see how it goes. I'm probably still going to do it in the post-game show, but I think I might, I'm hesitant to do this, but I might at some point maybe create a TikTok channel where I do office visits there. I'll also do it on the show. We'll see. It's just something I've been thinking about because, guys, in this environment, visibility helps you grow. So I've just been thinking about maybe doing something over there. I'm not sure yet, but I'm definitely not going to deprive you guys from office visits, and we actually have one tonight. We do. So let's get started. First and foremost, first thing we're going to talk about, man, wow. First offensive series, let's get right to that. There was a run by Najee Harris for 3 yards, and then Mitch loses a yard on a play-action pass attempt, which was covered. I thought Mitch probably should have thrown the ball away at that point to avoid losing the 1 yard, but he didn't. And then the Steelers gave up a sack on 3rd and 8, and they go 3 and out. Aiden Richardson and Charles Harris, provided the heavy pass rush, and it was funny. I was saying on Terrible Towel Tuesday, I believe, or it might have been on the my Thursday podcast with my guy Smitty, what we do over there, independent from the Steelers stuff. But I mentioned, him being a Lions fan, and I said, you know what, I'm going to be very interested in seeing Hutchinson against this offensive line of ours, and we were able to see it very early. How he was able to get pressure and get a sack as well. So there was your first offensive possession, even though we did defer. The way I wrote it here is I had the offensive series first ahead of the defensive series. But there you have it. And I did notate here, man, that Chooks got beat. If I remember correctly, Hutchinson got him because I think Hutchinson at that point was lined up on the left side, I think. I'd have to go back and watch. And Mason Cole, wow. Mason Cole has been pretty sturdy in this preseason, but he looked a lot like Kendrick Green in that regard on that play because he got pushed back. I mean, he just got overpowered, and that just is what it is. He just got overpowered. He got overran, and man, it was not pretty for the Steelers on their first offensive series. First defensive series, Boyle was able to find Hockenson against Devin Bush. I did notice that. I have to go back and watch the game to see if it was a straight up man coverage or if it was, if it was zone or Bush was late or whatever. Again, for you guys who might be new to this, channel, new to this show, my post game is my knee-jerk reaction. I haven't gone back and analyzed it or anything like that. It's just knee-jerk reaction. That's what I saw initially, is I saw Devin Bush was chasing. So I'll have to go back and see if it was in fact him, who gave up the coverage. TJ making himself presence very felt on that particular drive as well. Had 2 tackles on run defense. One of them was actually wiped out by Larry Ogunjobi's offsides penalty. And then the Steelers' run defense looked pretty solid on that drive. They ended a drive. It was 3rd and 3, and they were able to end it on a run defense. So, I thought that was a good takeaway there. And they essentially had, I guess you would call it a poor man's 3 and out because they gave up the pass to Hockenson, then they came back and went 3 and out after that. But whatever, no harm, no foul. So, in terms of, before I get into, let's go into the key moments. Let's go into the key moments, and then we'll go back and talk about all of the penalties. So the key moments that I have here, guys, is I have Cam Hayward, bats down 2 passes in the game. There was a 2nd and 9 and brought up a 3rd and 9, and the Steelers were able to get off the field with 3 and out. So if you guys might remember that particular series, that was a key moment. This is what Cam Hayward does. Remember what I was saying last season. Every game I said I have something to say about Cam Hayward. Every single game there's something that he does, and he flashes. Every single game he contributes in some kind of way, even if it's not a sack. That was almost as good, was pretty much as good as a sack in that series because, again, you bat it down on 2nd and 9, you bring up 3rd and 9, which is 3rd and long, the Steelers get off the field. So Cam Hayward was a huge contributor in that situation to get them off the field. What else did I write here? Steelers were faced with the 3rd and 2 after Hutchinson had an offsides. It was 3rd and 7. He brought it down to 3rd and 2. And Mitch throws a strike to Deonte Johnson down the left sideline. Man, what a pass by Trubisky. And we'll talk a little bit more about him a little bit later. Steelers face a 3rd and 23 after penalties by Dan Moore and Kevin Dotson on the same exact drive. And boy, wait until I get to the penalties. Man, the Steelers had to settle for a field goal, and Chris Boswell was true. At that point, the Steelers were up by 3. Very next notation here as far as key moments. Steelers give up a draw on 3rd and 17. I think it was a draw. For whatever reason, somehow I changed the channel inadvertently. And by the time I got back to it, it was a run play. So I believe it was a draw. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know it was 3rd and 17. And Devin Bush got swallowed by the tight end on that particular play. And that was a big run that they gave up. Do I hold that against them in terms of run defense? Not fully, because it was 3rd and 17, and they probably were playing the pass. You still have to chart that as an explosive run given up, but it's not one of those things where I would look and judge the run defense entirely, because again, that's what draw plays do. On 3rd and 17, you're expecting somebody to pass, and they caught us in the wrong defense or what have you, and there you have it. Let's keep it moving. On that same drive, Cam Sutton comes up with an interception, so that was great to see. Great to see Cam Sutton getting his hands on the ball, man. Again, it was great to see, and even better than as good as the pick was his return. So that was awesome. It was good to see Cam Sutton make a play, because I definitely want to get back to a couple seasons ago where the Steelers, the secondary was getting interceptions. I don't think we had as many last year. So I definitely want to get back into being able to say we have cornerbacks with interceptions. Cornerbacks and safeties need to get back into that game of getting interceptions. What else do I have here? Mitch Trubisky throws the ball just a bit behind George Pickens. Remember, guys, on that slant, would have been a touchdown. And at first, when I saw it in real time, I thought maybe the safety was close, the guy that was kind of over the top, but he wasn't. When I rewatched the play, Mitch had definitely a window where he could have thrown that ball just ahead of George Pickens, and that probably would have been a touchdown, assuming Pickens catches it. Good coverage, though. It was very good coverage by the defender, but if you put the ball out in front, you put the ball in the sweet spot, the defender is not able to play through George Pickens, and it's probably a touchdown. So, I did chart that, saying that Mitch has to be a little more pinpoint accurate as far as that pass, but I got to give him credit. Again, the pass that he threw to Deonte Johnson was money. And he made a couple good throws in this game. Steelers again forced to kick a field goal. At that point, they're up 6. The next thing that I notated here, Devin Bush and Miles Jack both make a play on 4th and 1 to force a turnover. Outstanding. Miles Jack is generally always around the ball, but it was great to see Devin Bush able to, get into the backfield, if you will. I got to go back and watch the play to remember whether or not it was an all-out blitz. Can't quite remember what the play call was. I just know that Devin Bush was the first man on the spot, and Miles Jack was right there alongside him. But again, I give Devin Bush at least credit for playing on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. So, I don't know, man. It clearly looks like the Steelers are going to continue to rotate Devin Bush in with first-team snaps. You did see him and Spillane kind of split time tonight, but even after Spillane played, Devin Bush came back in after him. So it looks like Devin Bush is still in the plans. So for some of you guys that thought maybe he would be an afterthought, I don't know. We'll see. Many things could happen over the next week or two, but we'll see. But I thought that was great defense right there. Steelers gave up a 3rd and 12 from the Lions' 9-yard line. You guys remember that one? They were on their own 9, and we give up a 3rd and 12. Can't have that. You cannot have these situations where you get teams in down and distance, particularly, 3rd and long. You got them backed up on their own 9-yard line. As long as you don't give up 12 yards, it's a punt, and you're more than likely going to get good field position. You know what I mean? Even if they gain 11 yards, you still are going to get decent field position. So those are those key moments, man. You cannot give up 3rd and 12s like that. You just can't. You just can't do that. Can't afford to do that. What else do I have here? Minkah Fitzpatrick breaks up a nicely thrown ball, I might add, down the middle of the field. And Minkah back there being that roaming free safety that we're accustomed to seeing. Isn't it great, guys? Let me pose that question to y'all, and I'll pause for a moment because I want you guys really to answer that. I know a lot of times people, you try to be critical of Minkah Fitzpatrick because he doesn't have a lot of interceptions or what have you. Like I said, we're definitely spoiled from the safety position. Those of us who were fortunate to see Troy Polamalu play all of those years. Some guys maybe are not pick machines. Maybe they're not Ed Reed, right? In terms of ball magnets. However, I do think Minkah has that talent, but the things that Minkah does do that doesn't get added as a interception on the chart is things like that PBU. Isn't it good to have a free safety now that in most cases he's able to make those type of plays? We saw it quite often last year, him getting the PBUs. But isn't it cool to rely on a safety for the most part to be in those spots and roam the field and make those types of plays? I mean, it looks like he almost could have gotten the ball because, the way he jumped into it, his hands was kind of in front of the defender. They kind of met at the same time. I mean, the receiver kind of met at the same time, but it looked like he almost could have kind of reached in front and picked it off. But again, the PBU works just as well. It's just great to see that. But don't you guys think that? You remember the days of Mike Mitchell, no disrespect? You remember the days of Sean Davis, no disrespect? Yeah, like my man Sean Mahoney is saying here, it's hard to get picks when the ball ain't thrown your way. You're right. And that's the one thing people have to consider as well. But isn't it a good feeling, a great feeling, to have a center fielder back there like that? That's a real question for you guys. And maybe you guys will answer that here in a moment, but it's a great feeling. But anyway, Minka does his job, man. Consistently does his job, so I'm loving it. Let's see. Mitch comes back and he throws a strike to George Pickens. He also finds Freiermuth. This was on the final drive of the half. And he finishes the drive with a touchdown pass to Sims on a slant. And let me tell you, Mitch Trubisky looked pretty good on that drive, folks. We've been able to now see him in a 2-minute situation, and we also have seen Kenny Pickett in a 2-minute situation. So I think it worked out great to where we were able to see both of these quarterbacks in those scenarios, and both of them delivered. I mean, what a strike. Great throw to Pickett. I'm going to mix these guys' name up all year. Great throw to Pickens. Great throw to him, and Pickens also, twisting and turning his body to make the catch. Beautiful stuff there. And then the throw to Freiermuth, where he throws it away from the linebacker underneath, and he throws it backside. Outstanding stuff right there, man. I cannot be mad at the play that I'm seeing from Mitch Trubisky. Listen, is it perfect? No. I mean, has any of the quarterbacks been perfect? Maybe not. But that offensive line is not helping them at all. But Mitch has made some plays. He has made some plays. And, yeah, man. I'm going to talk about it in a moment as far as what I think is going to be in week 1 and all that. But we'll get there in just a moment. Also, man, I wanted to highlight here that Kenny Pickett, with a great back shoulder throw to Boykin. Miles Boykin had a big-time game. I want to say it was the third quarter, I believe. It might have been the fourth, but I think it was early in the third or late in the third. But what a throw he made to Boykins. And again, Boykin with great catch. Great catch. Body control, finding the ball. But again, I thought the placement was really good there with Kenny Pickett. That was pretty much it, guys. I didn't, notate anything else that stood out that was big-time moments, with some of those guys that were playing late in the game. Some of them may have an opportunity. We'll see. But those were really my highlights and my key takeaways from tonight's game. Let's talk about the injuries and the penalties, and then I'll give you some of my takeaways, and then I'll come into the chat to see what you guys have. Deonte Johnson, let's keep an eye on that. Went down with a shoulder after the big catch, the throw from Mitch Trubisky. So we got to keep an eye on that. TJ also goes down in the second quarter. He took a shot on his left knee from Hawkinson, on like some type of, peel back block or what have you. And then also Casey. Casey goes down in the third quarter holding his left hand or wrist area. Mike Tomlin, basically stated that if those guys had to play today, if they had to come back in a game, if it was a real game, like a real regular season game, they could have. So that's good, encouraging news. Doesn't sound like there's any issue with TJ or Deonte Johnson. They're just being cautious. No need to throw them back out there after they have a semi-injury. No point. So it's really good to hear that it doesn't appear to be serious with those guys. Casey might be a different story. I don't know if we ever got an update on Casey, but just looking at how that play played out. Looking at him laying on his back and how he was holding his wrist, it kind of seems like it could be something. Maybe not. I don't want to speculate, but from first glance, it looks like if there is a more serious injury, it would be his. KZ seemed to be, more serious. Yeah, same thing I got as well. Joshua Shields is seeing him hold his wrist like that. Yeah, I'm not feeling good about that, man. But hopefully it's nothing too serious. Let's get to these penalties, man. And this is gonna bring me to my first office visit of the day, and probably the only one so far, because I wasn't really looking to give office visits in this game, but this one stood out so much, I just had to. I couldn't hold it. I couldn't help myself. Larry, offsides on the first defensive possession. It is what it is, but we just need him to be a little less anxious there. By the way, Larry is, like I said it last week, this guy is gonna be a force. He's going to be maybe he's not a superstar, but you can clearly see his impact in the run game. Again, he was making some plays. He was around the ball, making a few tackles. You could definitely see plugging in Miles Jack, and also Cam Hayward being out there. There were moments that you could tell that, the Steelers defense was back in effect. We got a donation, man. Round of applause to Angie, a.k.a. Baby Steeler. Appreciate your donation. She says, hey, Sim and Steelers ladies and fam, definitely mistakes, but a good game overall. I agree with that, but there were a lot of mistakes in terms of, it is so much. And there's a lot I'm probably going to see when I rewatch the game. But next is my office visit of the night. Dan Moore, bring yourself into this office now. No. Before you even hit the showers, come on in here, buddy. We have to talk, sir. We have to talk. Mr. Dan Moore Jr. See, I don't want to be so critical and so negative on you, because I understand you are a second-year player. I understand you weren't even highly recruited. We wasn't really, we weren't looking at you early in the process. Nobody really was, because we got you in the 4th round. In all due respect. But you come into camp that year, we try you out, and you're playing pretty well. Playing pretty solid. Well, even a lot of the fan base, including myself, was like, hey, man, this kid might have something. You had some games last year against top tier competition, and you held your own. So we all came into this season saying, hey, you took your lumps last year because you had some bad moments. You had some good moments. We were expecting you to take a second-year jump. But instead of taking a second-year jump, it almost looks like you're now second-year junk. What's going on out there? How do you get 2 penalties? Two. On the same drive? I mean, most offensive linemen, I'm sure a goal of theirs is to not have 2 penalties in the first 4 or 5 games. Oh, you do better than that. You get 2 of them in the first. God, come on, man. First action, like real action, because the first couple games didn't matter. And hold on, Mr. Dan Moore. I see that we got some people trying to interrupt our video here. These crazy bots. Hold on, guys. Let me get this stuff out of here. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I still don't understand how people enjoy this type of stuff. It's weird. Gonna have to get me a moderator. All right, that one is out of there. If y'all see another one, let me know. But back to you, Dan Moore. Please explain to me how you get 2 penalties on the same drive for the same exact thing. Holding. Come on, brother. Get it together. Because we ain't got time to be coddling nobody. You're looking worse. Like I said, we were looking for the second-year jump. You're looking like second-year junk. Get it together. Don't you understand that we're going to play the AFC representatives in a couple weeks in their house? And they got dogs too. Come on, man. Come on, man, because this is not looking good. You starting to look like your boy. You starting to look like your boy. The guy who was drafted a round ahead of you. You're starting to look like Kendrick Green out there, Mr. Moore. This is looking ugly. I remember when Najee was saying how well all of the rookies were playing last year. Rookie offensive players contributing, and he included you and Kendrick Green. Let's see if he happens to say anything like that as far as the second-year players. I don't think you and Kendrick Green would be in that conversation anymore. Get it together, or we'll have to find your replacement. All right, Mr. Moore, that's all I got for you. Let's keep it moving. So, yeah, you guys just heard me say it. Dan Moore called for holding on the second drive. And it was a nice play design, by the way. Did y'all notice that play design? That handoff to Najee was kind of a fake. It looked like it might have been a fake jet or something, and then they handed it off to Najee going back to the left. That was a little cute there, Mr. Canada. I see you. But it gets blown up. Najee spins and gets extra yards. But Dan Moore, is the reason why it gets called back. And then he's called again on second down for another holding. And then here comes Kevin Dotson on the same drive. And he gets called for false start. So the Steelers end up in a 3rd and 23. Man, there was a face mask by number 26 on the kickoff. I don't know if that was McFarland or not, because I know sometimes these guys, at this point when the roster is the size that it is, they wear the, some guys are number 26 on offense, somebody's number 26 on defense. So I don't know if that was McFarland, because I wasn't aware that he was on the kick-off team. I know he's on, some of the kick return teams, but anyway, whoever that was, there was a face mask on that. Najee Harris called for false start late in the second quarter. Chooks called for holding late in the second quarter. Kendrick Green called for holding on the first drive of the second half. And poor Kendrick Green, he got destroyed on that. I mean, literally got ran over. Remember last year when I kept saying maybe they'll teach him how to anchor better or something? It ain't no hope, man. There's no hope against power with that kid. He just don't got it. He just don't have it. If he gets better, and hey, maybe prove me wrong, but I get it. I understand Pat Myers teaching a different, style, but Kendrick Green he struggles with power. That dude got ran clean over. Embarrassing. There was an offsides by Hamilcar Rashed. A pass interference as well by Pierre on the same play. That was in the third quarter. However, there was a smart play by Pierre, because if not, that's probably a touchdown. So I get it. I guess, if we want to give him credit for knowing that the offsides had already happened, then that's a super duper smart play by James Pierre. Carlos Davis was called for a personal foul late in the fourth quarter. There was a roughing call on Justin Lane late in the fourth quarter, and I think there's another penalty I may have missed in there. But needless to say, guys, that's a bunch of penalties right there. Steelers are going to have to, clean that up. And it would be one thing if I was saying most of these guys were backups, but no. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. First 7 penalties were by starters. And then the 8th one in a Kendrick Green was by a guy who could end up starting at left guard. Who knows? Can't have that. Cannot have that. All right, guys, key takeaways. Hamilcar Rashed was starting with TJ Watt. Interesting. Did y'all notice that? He was the starter. It was him and TJ. It was not TJ and Tuska. Tuska came in, but it was TJ and Rashed that were starting. So is that to say that Hamilcar is the third outside linebacker? Is he the first man off the bench when TJ or Alex Highsmith needs a breather? I'll be keeping my eye on that. Matt Canada calls a couple halfback screens in this game. He called one on the second series to Najee, then there was one called later on to Anthony McFarland. So hopefully we start incorporating some halfback screens into the offense. The offensive line having penalty and protection issues in the first quarter, and actually you could pretty much say the entire half. Did they have a couple moments where they gave some time? Yes, but overall, man, the offensive line just continued to struggle. And like I said, like you've heard people like Ramon Foster say, you're not going to see anything change, or you won't be able to tell how good or bad they're going to be until about, week 5 or so of the season. I agree with that. I think we're going to really know what this offensive line is after they play at least 4 games. Because on one side, you got to admit it's still a relatively new unit as far as those guys playing together. On the other side, we're hearing that Pat Meyer teaches a different technique. So, could they improve? Maybe. But again, I feel like some of the things that I'm seeing, I don't know if it's completely scheme related. I don't know. I can't sit here and pretend to say I know each and every aspect of the offensive line. I don't. But it's just some of the stuff that I'm seeing. When I'm seeing guys right in front of someone's face and they just power through them, to me, that's just man on man. And a lot of these dudes are not looking good, man. We couldn't really get the run game off the ground. Najee had a decent run, 1 or 2 runs, in the first half. But for the most part, we couldn't really get any successful runs going. Offensive line just didn't have a great showing. And I don't feel great about it going into Cincinnati. I just don't. Devin Bush and Spillane were rotating. Interesting. So I wonder, are we going to continue to see that rotation? That's the first question. I wonder, was that rotation to determine who will be the first one on the field when, the season opens up? That's one question. And then also, I want to know if, do the Steelers still really have confidence in Devin Bush? Like, is that why we were seeing him so much? I wasn't expecting to see him so much after it looked like he struggled a couple times. And like I said, it made a great play on that 4th and 1 along with Miles Jack. So it's not like he was the worst the entire game, but there were also some moments where I felt like it was squarely on him and he didn't make the play. So it is I'm curious to know whether or not they're going to play that type of rotation game. Similar to how we saw them do that with Cam Sutton and Mike Hilton in Hilton's last season. I don't know. But what I was disappointed about is I wanted to see Mark Robinson along with Miles Jack. And I don't believe we got that tonight, unless I missed it. But I don't recall seeing Mark Robinson out there with Miles Jack. And I want to see that. I wanted to see how he plays with the ones. Because even though Mark Robinson is raw, I think we have something there in terms of his downhill play. Now, I will say this as well. He's not in coverage. He looks like a clear liability. I understand that. But I just have a feeling, man, that it could get to a point where maybe Mark Robinson is taking some defensive snaps. And if that is the case, I would love to have seen him play with Miles Jack. And we did not see that. I will say this as well. Mark Robinson didn't seem to be as impactful in this game as he was in Jacksonville. Meaning, it was in the Jacksonville game, there was a lot of moments that I said, ooh, Mark Robinson was all over that, or he was in the right spot. Ooh, he shot the gap, made the tackle. I didn't feel like I saw a lot of moments with him tonight defensively. Like I said, he was a liability in coverage. And, there was a couple times where he would shoot a gap and the running back would cut it back and go, the opposite direction. So, I don't know if it was more so him overrunning a gap or overrunning pursuit, or if it was the running back making an adjustment. So, again, when I go back and watch for the second and third time, I can hone in on him specifically and say, all right, let's see how he did entirely. Where he did stand out is he had some special teams tackles. I know it was at least 2 that I counted. So, Mark Robinson, man, is going to make the team, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to seeing how he can be developed, because I think we might have a little diamond in the rough with him. But like I said, the only disappointment tonight is I didn't get a chance to see him with Miles Jack, and I really wanted to see that. Here's another interesting point. Jaylen Warren was the first one to spell Najee Harris. Yes, it was Jaylen Warren. He was the number 2 running back tonight. Guess who was the 3rd running back to enter the game? Anthony McFarland. It was not Benny Snell. However, Benny Snell did have a couple decent moments tonight in the run game. You know, one of those plays I remember specifically, broke a few tackles. He was running really hard. So, you know, like that. But it looks like Benny Snell has definitely been jumped in the depth chart. You know, if we're to read into anything that we saw tonight, maybe that's not definitive. But if you read into the rotations tonight, we did not see Benny Snell. He was the 4th running back to touch the ball. It was Najee, Warren, McFarland, then Snell. However, Snell is still a factor on special teams, so it's possible. It's very possible seeing Warren getting snaps with some of the ones. It's possible that the Steelers keep 4 and they don't practice squad Warren. It's possible. I don't know if they will, but keep your eyes on that. It's going to be interesting. Let's see. What else did I have here, guys? I thought the Marvin Leal flashed a little bit, had back-to-back batted passes in the 3rd quarter. So again, it's not always about the It's not always about the sack. It's how effective you are, and that's effectiveness right there. And it had quite a few batted balls tonight, man. I think Tusker got one, maybe. But like I said, Leal had 2, Cam had 2, and Leal had some pressures as well. You know, so I think Leal is a steal. You know, every game that we've seen him in, we've had something positive to say about him. So keep an eye out on him as well. I think he's another guy that has potential to get a few snaps this year, and he can help you in the pass rush game. Let's see. What else did I put here? Isaiah Riley. Is it Isaiah Riley? Do I got the name right? The safety. He was flashing a little bit later on in the game. And I know, you know, he's not playing against the top tier competition. However, he was around the ball a lot. He was making plays a lot. And the reason why I'm pointing this out, if Casey is injured, the Steelers may look to add another safety. So I wonder if Riley was making a case for himself. I remember saying that immediately when he went down and I saw Riley come in later. I said, one of these guys might have an opportunity, at least for a little while, if Casey's, you know, injury is significant at all. If it's a broken wrist or, you know, sprain or what have you, and he's going to be out for a while. Could we possibly see another one of these safeties? You know, I don't think the Steelers would just sit on who they have now. Yeah, I wouldn't think so. You know, I would think they might want to add another piece, because remember, Casey was a part of that piece. You know, it was going to be Edmonds, Fitzpatrick. It was going to be Casey, Norwood. You know, but I think now, if Casey's not in the picture, they'll be looking to have another safety. So, somebody said, is Conor McGregor getting cut? Conor McGregor? I don't know if that's a joke or if you literally just said the wrong name by mistake, but yeah. And last but not least, guys, do y'all realize it almost hurt me watching it? I know it's preseason, but it gave me flashbacks of last season. We couldn't put no points on the board. Do you guys realize that the Steelers did not score a touchdown until the very last drive of the first half? At that point, we had possessed the ball 6 times. Or 5. It was 5 or 6. I can't remember if the final drive by Trubisky was drive 6 or drive 5. I can't remember. But anyway, through the first half, the Steelers had no touchdowns to show for it. 2 of which of those drives started beyond the 50. If I'm not mistaken, I think a couple of them was in the red zone, like right at the 20 or maybe a little bit on the outside, but that's unacceptable. But again, it's the offensive line. Because again, Mitch Trubisky was on the run quite a bit tonight. Like having to, back up, throw the ball quick, couldn't really step into any throws. He took a sack. Like, man, I'm getting a little concerned with this offensive line, folks. I don't know how much better it can get. And at this point, it don't matter if Kenny is out there, Mitch is out there, Najee is in the backfield. It ain't gonna matter if we can't hold blocks, because what's gonna happen is that offense is gonna become very predictable. Well, we won't be able to run a lot of play action or a lot of deep crossing routes or deep developing routes because we can't hold the protection. Now let's talk about the quarterbacks. Again, I think both quarterbacks played well. I think they did. I'm still willing to say that Mitch Trubisky should be your starter week 1. Let me explain. I know some of you guys are not with that idea. Y'all want to see Kenny and you want to see Kenny now. But here's my position. And I'm thinking as the Steelers organization and using my own brain. If I was in charge there, if I was Coach Tomlin or whoever makes the, assuming it's Coach Tomlin, but if I was Coach Tomlin, I have the best of both worlds right now. I have a veteran quarterback who has some savvy to him. He has experience, and he has played well. In his career, some could say he was very streaky. That's fair. But in knowing that, I have my future that has played very well also. Which means if my veteran starts to play bad, I can bring in the future, let him experience, whatever point he comes in and get some season games under his belt, and then we move on and proceed with him next season. But what you don't want to do, throw Pickett out there and he struggles, and then you're forced to bench him. There's no need. You understand what I'm saying? It's a much smoother transition if you throw the veteran out there who has played well. Think about it. Trubisky has played relatively well. Played well. That throw to Deonte Johnson, whew, that throw to Pickens, whew, that throw to Freiermuth, whew, and the quick, decisive decision and throw to Sims on the touchdown. I mean, Mitch played a good game. So if your veteran is playing good, you have nothing but time. Remember, folks, it was the same way back in the day with Ben Roethlisberger when the Steelers knew Ben was the future. He wasn't starting. He wasn't playing. It wasn't in the plans to start him. And I know some of y'all are going to say, yeah, but the game has changed. And, you want to play these guys. And I get it. But a lot of these teams that play them guys right out the gate is teams that need a quarterback. They needed a quarterback. There was no other option, or there wasn't no other veteran that was playing fairly well. You know what I'm saying? So the Steelers are in premium position here where they don't have to rush Kenny. They can let Trubisky go out there and win it or lose it. And if he loses it, think about this. Nobody is going to complain when Tomlin makes the switch. Nobody. Then that is a beautiful position to be in. So this is why I do believe that Trubisky will be the starter week 1. And look, here's another luxury. You're going to take Kenny Pickett and put him out there in Cincinnati week 1? Let's not forget those Bengals are good. Let's not forget those Bengals just played in the Super Bowl. You want to take Kenny Pickett and throw him in that environment for his first game? Come on, folks. Come on. Think a little bit. Don't think with your heart so much. You got to make a smart decision here. You got to think about his future and the career. You never know what that could do to him. We go out there and gets broke up, beat down, smashed, in the first game. You never know what that might do to him when you don't have to do it. That's the thing. When you don't have to do it, don't do it. So that's my take. What y'all got? Give me a few. Like I said, I'm about to be up out of here, guys, because I got to go watch House of the Dragon or House of Dragons or whatever it's called. What y'all got? I'll give y'all a few minutes. But that's my take. You know what? That's my main take is the team. I'm a little nervous about the offensive line. No question about that. I'm a little leery about the offensive line. We're going to see, man. I think from what I'm seeing, we have a relatively decent team. I think defensively, let me say that. Let me give the defense some kudos. I think the defense played great, man. Keeping in mind, guys, that you're playing NFL teams. You're not going to hold them. You're not going to stop every run. You're not going to stop every pass. I think the defense largely played well. I was having a conversation during the game. Father-in-law Leonard, I believe, and he mentioned that he didn't think the run defense looked good. And I was like, well, I don't know if I would necessarily say that because, there wasn't really a lot of runs that were explosive runs. Of course, the one on 3rd and 17, which is a big one. But for the most part, there were quite a few games that, runs that were short. They stuffed them for the most part. So, yeah, I'm not ready to say that the defense or even the run defense was bad tonight. I actually think they played better than what they had previously played. So that's just my opinion. I'm curious to see what you guys think. The truth says, why do you want to be on the football field and get hurt when you can sit on the bench and get paid? Let the other players get the injuries. I'm assuming you're talking about Kenny Pickett. But yeah, it's just, again, from a football mind, I just don't think it's a need to rush him. It's really not a need to rush him out there when your veteran is playing well. Wave Dave 10 says, a lot of teams don't have 3 QBs playing well. Some have 0. We're good. I'm with you. Kenyon agrees as well. That's how I'm feeling. Listen. Let's not forget that myself, Kenyon, Debbie, who else was with us that night? Destiny. We didn't want Kenny Pickett at first. We didn't. Because, and again, Malik is showing it, right? I was thinking about upside. I saw the game this week when Malik took off. And that's what I was thinking, like, man, it would be great to have that type of quarterback. It wasn't that I thought Kenny wasn't good. I just was preferring the perceived upside of Malik Willis. So you're talking to a guy that wasn't sold on Kenny Pickett. I thought he would be the pick if they had, I'm thinking he was going to be the second quarterback taken. And I thought to myself, they're going to go with Kenny Pickett, right? But y'all got to remember, I wasn't the guy that was all campaigning for him. So for me to be sitting here saying, nah, man, don't rush, I'm supporting him now because he's playing good. We don't have to rush it. Robert Tomburo says, yeah, Sam, with your common sense about the QB decision, of course, it's better to go from Mitch to Kenny instead of Kenny to Mitch. When starter plays poorly and QB change, we agree again. Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's like I'm not the sharpest, I'm not this genius. To me, that's like you said, for lack of a better term, it's common sense. The Steelers are in beautiful position right now as far as the quarterback because Mike Tomlin and whoever else influences the decision, whether it's the QB coach, Matt Canada, they can look like geniuses. Nobody's going to be mad if they have to switch. You actually look better if Mitch struggles and Kenny comes in and plays. They're going to be like, that was a great decision by Mike Tomlin. You see, they're in beautiful position here, folks. 2 donations here, man. I want to give shout outs and round of applause to Jason Purdy and CT Pittman. Appreciate the donation. I really do. Jason says Kenny should sit the year the way this O-line is. That too, Jason. That too. Let's not forget that, folks. On one hand, we talking about how bad the offensive line is playing, and on the other hand, you talking about put Kenny out there. Nah, I'd rather not. We got time to see what's gonna happen. CT Pittman says, "Thank you, Sim, for your takes. Most fans speak from emotion, but you speak from a football X's and O's. Much appreciated." I try. I really try because, again, I'm as emotional as you guys are when it comes to my heart in the Steelers. But, a few years back when I decided I was going to do this little podcast thing, I told myself then, all right, you got to be a little more objective. You gotta look at it from a business standpoint. You have to, really break things down on how you think the Steelers are going to do things. And then on top of that, use your X's and O's. 'Cause I know some football, right? So I always said, use that when you're looking and judging the team. Don't just go with your raw emotion. And it feels so much better when you can approach it like that, because then you fully understand it. You can still be pissed. You can still be mad at stuff. But when you approach it that way, you kind of understand what's happening. So, like I said, I try to, man. I really tried to always keep it that way and never just shoot from the hip. I try to keep it in and put it in perspective. And I try to do my best, man, to help some of you guys see it that way as well. Like I said, I don't know everything. Listen, it's my opinion, just like you guys have opinions. But that's just the way I try to approach the whole thing. What else y'all got? Come on, keep it coming, guys. Kenyon says, "I never understand why someone who doesn't like the Steelers will comment in the Steelers chat." Yeah, that's weird to me too. That is weird to me too. But I mean, I don't know. I don't recognize the name. Maybe he's just someone who follows me on YouTube. But like you said, I'm that type too. I could care less what any other team is doing. I always wonder what that impulse is that makes people feel like they have to say something. And Rob Jack, no disrespect to you. I'm not saying anything about your personality, but what I'm saying is just in general, I'm talking about the people who just troll. Like, I don't know what that impulse is or what kind of rocks you get off from doing that, those people who do that. So just to agree with Kenyon, I just personally never do that. You don't see me in a Chiefs chat or Ravens chat. Unless I'm having real dialogue, but I wouldn't be there anyway. But if I was there, I would imagine I would really be having real dialogue instead of, oh, your team sucks. Those things just don't tickle my fancy. I'm sorry. Round of applause to my man C. Antoine Hill. And we about to wrap this thing up because we're getting closer to 9. The short answer to that, Antoine, is if Mitch isn't playing well. I honestly think if Trubisky is playing well, the Steelers are, keep this in mind. If the Steelers are playing well and winning, we won't see Kenny this year. It would be no reason to. I don't think you let one guy get you there and be like, all right, you come in now. No, I think if the offense is clicking and we're winning and Trubisky is playing well, so those two things, playing well along with winning, no, I don't think Kenny gets to play this year. I think you see him if we're not playing so well, if we get knocked out of playoff contention, things like that. Then you might see him. Round of applause to Jason Purdy, another donation, man. You guys are too kind. I appreciate it. He says, hot take. This team can be last year's Bengals within the next 2 years with more vets on the O and younger bloods on defense. If you look closely, we're built similar. Hey, that's a great point, man. That is an outstanding point because honestly, I wouldn't be mad at that because again, I hate to use that word, but we are rebuilding. This is a new era. This is a totally new era. All of this QB talk and stuff, this is so foreign to us over all of these several years. So you could absolutely be right. It could be that we're building this, we're laying the foundation to take the next step without looking so bad. What I mean by that is we don't seem like a team that's going to be like 3-5 3 and what? What is it? How many games is it now? 17 weeks. Yeah, we don't look like one of them teams that's only gonna win 6 games or 4. Be one of the top 5 picks. We don't look like that. We look like a middle of the road team or a team that overachieves. Like we might sneak out 10 wins or something like that. And that's the thing. So we're slowly reloading. And what you said could very well be true. Could resemble something like the Bengals. You just never know. Knight Rider says, yeah, but we got some studs on both sides of the ball in their prime. That is a fact, man. That is a fact. That is a fact. Oh, okay. So Rob is a Ravens fan. Hey, man, that's all good. Like, again, I invite anybody to come over and kick it, but like I said, I just never understand that type of banter. When it comes to sports, I did that when I played, but yeah, people always know when they be like, "Oh, you ain't gonna say nothing." Nah, I'm cool. And then when we win the game, I'd be like, "See, that's why I ain't say nothing." But at the end of the day, it's like, ain't nobody really can talk now because the Bengals were the kings of the North last year. Ravens didn't do much either. The Ravens haven't really made a lot of noise in the last couple years. So it's one of those things. Like, can either one of us talk at this point? No, we can't. Let's see what this year brings. Let's see. Oh, okay. So yeah, you just going back and forth with the chat here. So that's cool. Y'all have at it. What else y'all got? I'm gonna give y'all maybe one more, and then I'm out of here so I can get myself ready. Kenyon, get ready. That thing about to come on, so get ready. Give me one more, guys. Christian said Trubisky needs to start. I fully agree with that. Give me one more football-related thing about the Steelers, whether it's a statement or a question. Before I go, I'm gonna wait a minute to see if it pops up. If it doesn't, I'll sign off early. See what I'm saying, guys? Your focus is all off now. Now all y'all doing is going back and forth with the Ravens fan. See what I'm saying? Here we go. The truth says, if the line is as sorry as I think they are, you may need 10 quarterbacks this year. Ben might be back. Yeah, man. It's bad. We'll end it on that note. The offensive line, listen, we won't get another chance to see it until week 1. I hope the offensive line makes some progress, let's say by week 5. And let's see. Outside of that, is there somebody that the Steelers might be able to bring in over the next couple weeks before the first game? We'll see. I don't know. Maybe some people are going to get cut, and we'll see. But at this point, a lot of attention needs to be paid to that offensive line because that is clearly the weakest link on this year's team so far. And when Tuesday comes around, on Turbo Towel Tuesday, I will have watched the game again, and I'll be able to, hone in on the O-line. So I'm going to really pay attention to the O-line, and I'm going to pay attention to Mark Robinson. So that's my assignment for Tuesday. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. And we're going to watch some Targaryens. House of the Targaryens. Let me hit y'all with this really quick, man. If you haven't already, make sure you, boom, hit the like button. Boom, subscribe to the channel. And boom, cut on that notification bell. If you ain't doing that, come on, man. Come on, man. That's all I ask. That's free. That's all I need you to do. The other thing I need you to do is make sure you stay safe out there. God bless all of you guys and gals who watched the show tonight. Definitely appreciate that. And I hope everybody has a lovely start to the week. I shall see you guys on Tuesday, and we will further this conversation. But until then, again, stay safe. God bless. Good night. And I thank you for tuning in to another post-game show presented by The Still Basement. Peace.